This was some viral Marianne Williamson video from last night. So go ahead. Why don't you set what we're about to see up here?
Okay, so notorious pathological narcissist and fake candidate for president, Marianne Williamson, went on a show that not only myself, but Keaton as well are too old to have any awareness of who this person is, even though they have 12.6 million followers on Instagram. Lauren Jauregui. She's what'd you say, Cuban? Cuban?
Yes. Apparently she's a Cuban, sort of like Instagram influencer, Cuban American. So she's, singer, artist, fashion model, basically an Instagram lottery winner, somebody who puts themselves up there on social media, and boom,
lottery.
Now you're big. For what reason? We're not exactly sure, but her politics seemed to be pretty good from what I saw from this interview. I didn't watch the whole thing, full disclosure. It was an hour. Didn't have time to do that yesterday. Celebrating my birthday.
One would have to assume that Marianne went on with her not expecting to get real questions.
Right.
And she got them and answered very, very badly. So let's hear what Marianne had to say about Israel re-Palestine.
I hope someday that you'll go to Israel. Many of the things that you just said that you've seen with your own eyes, I don't think you've seen with your own eyes. Because some of the things that you just said, and I don't think that I've ever been in my life blind to the faults of Israel. And I haven't been silent about them either. Mm-hmm. But some of the things that you just described were simply not the case. Israel is not an occupying force in Gaza. Israelis can't even go into Gaza. Hamas, they cannot even go in. Now the soldiers are in there because of this war that you and I both disagree with.
Okay, so this is so disingenuous, it's mind-boggling. She's really making it sound as if the people in Gaza have autonomy. They're keeping the Israelis out. No, this is like saying, well, no, I mean the guards don't go inside the prison, so the prisoners actually have independence. What are you talking about?
Yeah.
What are you talking about?
That's like saying, the Nazis didn't eat at the Auschwitz mess halls. They didn't eat there.
Right. So clearly the prisoners were running the concentration camp. This is what you're saying. You're saying it's not a concentration camp. It's an independent, autonomous region that Israel doesn't have any control over.
Exactly. Yep.
They're before October 7th.
Excuse me?
They were there before October 7th.
No, Israelis cannot even go. I'm not in any way arguing that the blockade of Gaza was not a good thing. However, Hamas, not all of the misery of the Gazans is due to Israel. And Hamas...
Oh, it's not. It's not. Well, if you're saying it's because of Hamas, I have an article right up here from the New York Times about how they were driving suitcases of money into Hamas under Netanyahu's direction. So even if that premise were true, where did Hamas come from? Who funded Hamas? So ultimately, that goes back to Israel. Look, Marianne is trying to present herself as some kind of a progressive option for president, or as her latest round of abused staff members claim, doing a book tour under the premise of running for president. Whichever it is, when her natural thoughts and instincts come out before she gets a chance to workshop what position she wants to show to the world, this is what she actually thinks. She is a Zionist. To her, Israel is not an occupying force.
Yeah, I mean, that's the big thing. I mean, that's the big one.
Right. Israel is not an occupying force. Israel, I don't know. I mean, credit to the young lady here. I don't know if she had enough knowledge to ask her, well, do you believe in the right to return? Because the gymnastics that would have inspired would have been really entertaining. So Marianne, then, when she got called out for exactly what she actually said.
Yeah, because this went pretty viral. Yeah.
Yeah, she pulled a typical Marianne and denied that she said what she actually said, or what she said meant what it actually meant. There's great misinterpretation of my views, hardly new, bouncing around the internet today. And I'm posting my videos on the subject for those who are interested. I won't be getting into conversation about it on Twitter, but I'd like my actual work to be represented rather than words taken out of context. The entire context is there. Like it's not like the original video was strangely edited, where he just dropped in one sentence. It was very clear what the context was. I'm not expecting everyone to agree with me, nor is that my goal. But projection and slander aren't the stuff of meaningful debate. Okay, Orb Queen. So let's take a look at what the Topanga Canyon hippie offered in her defense as a contradiction of her own words.
And John F. Kennedy said that if we don't put an end to war, war will put an end to us. And let us make no mistake about it. The situation currently in the Middle East, if uncontrolled, could lead to World War III.
Oh, you think?
The bombing must end. We need a ceasefire. And President Biden's commitment to Israel should not include more and more commitment to brute force, more and more commitment to military action, more and more commitment such as sending ships like that's going to protect our national interest or even theirs. I call for a ceasefire not only as a candidate for the Democratic nomination for the presidency. I am a Jew, remember, and I understand the fury of the Israelis in this moment. But this is not a moment for us to think only in terms of an alliance with this people or that people. We must be in alliance with humanity right now. This is a call to all humanity.
No, I'm sorry. We must be in alliance with the innocent people of Gaza who are being slaughtered to the tune of hundreds a day. I'm not on the side of the Israeli state.
It's complicated.
Yeah, no. Yeah. This is not about being for these people and against these people. We should be unequivocally against the Israeli government's atrocities in Gaza. And that means solidarity with the people of Gaza. That's not complicated. Shouldn't be too complicated for the so-called progressive alternative to Joe Biden in the race. But notice, I mean, we still have half of this to go. She's not actually addressing what she said in the video.
Not at all.
She's just saying, I want a ceasefire. Leave me alone. Don't bother me. Isn't that good enough?
Right. Yeah, no, this does not in any way change anything she said in that interview at all.
Exactly.
Oh, you're not pro-genocide. Oh, great.
Yeah.
Okay, thanks. Yeah. You know, I've been seeing this whole thing the wrong way.
Find another way. This is a call to all of us to get out of our silos, to realize that an innocent citizen of Israel and an innocent citizen of Gaza, they are both victims of a mentality which does not serve. And it is that mentality which we must move beyond. We need a ceasefire. And every voice that calls for a ceasefire should be given the chance to speak. All of us must remove the hatred for anyone from our hearts right now and speak out of love for humanity and the future of humanity. We need a ceasefire, and we need it now. And when the bombing ends, then we can talk about what to do from an internationalist perspective to save those hostages.
It's funny, you know, I should have pulled this video because RBN started tweeting it out, you know, over the past 24 hours. When you had a conversation with Nick Cruz before this latest incarnation of the war started on October 7th, when you had a conversation with Nick Cruz from RBN about what to do about this, and he started giving you his side of things, you shut him down by accusing him of mansplaining the issue to you. So you didn't seem too interested in actually talking out the politics of the issue before the violence started. And now you're saying, well, we just have to end the violence and then we'll talk about it afterwards. I don't really believe you, because you had a chance to talk about it earlier this year. And you were obviously more interested in getting out of that conversation when Nick started saying, hey, my Palestinian friends are telling me that the two-state solution is a non-starter at this point because of the abuses of the Israeli state. How could you ever establish the level of trust needed to actually form a two-state solution? But she didn't want to have that conversation. And now she's saying, we'll have it after the violence ends. Ceasefire now. Yeah, I'm not buying that. I'm sorry.
And it could just be to save the world. Ceasefire. Ceasefire now.
Yeah. So really, this is typical Marianne. This is not the first time that she's turned around and said, no, it didn't mean what I said it meant. And then she doesn't really offer any evidence to contradict it. Like one has nothing to do with the other. Okay, so you're not an absolute psychopath on this subject. Congratulations. But in the end, you're a Zionist, and you want to just continue this whole game that Israel has been playing for 75 years, pretending to want a two-state solution, even though we know now very clearly Israel itself funded Hamas in order to make sure that there would be no Palestinian Authority with international credibility to actually create a Palestinian state. In the end, the map speaks for itself. The shrinking Palestinian presence in these territories, that's the long-term Israeli goal. And that's something she's never going to address. And it's very much like what she did with Ukraine, which also came up when she talked to RBN. In the end, she supports these policies. She just wants to go up and say, I feel really bad about people dying and people shouldn't be dying, but not so much so that she's actually going to speak out against the underlying ideas behind these policies.
Please clap.